And we welcome you back to the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus and Vicki Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group at Keller Williams Realty in Boise. So, Chris, I know you work a lot, but it's great that the family can be with you today. Introduce real quick Vicki and your 4 kids.
Yeah, we had, my wife, Vicki, we've been married for 8 years, and then we have Catcher, who is 7. We have Cooper, 6. We have Lola, 5, and Savannah is 3. And we have 2 dogs, too. We have 2 yellow labs, which I know you'll appreciate this. We have Bella, and we have Charger. Is there other?
Nice. Working the San Diego Charger angle?
Or North Turner, you know it, yeah.
Oh, okay. I figured that. So there you have it. Catcher. When Catcher told me he played first base, I was trying to draw the, Now, what position did you play? You played, and by the way, Chris, how he got here, played college baseball, and you played at the College of Southern Idaho. You also are a PGA golf professional. But
Right.
what position did you play?
I played first base as well as my brother. My older brother played for Oakland.
Now it's all adding up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, my brother played for the A's for about 6 years too, so that was kind of a cool thing. But yeah, we discussed about I'm a huge sports fan, you know that, and you and I is kind of how you and I got together in the first place and started chatting.
yeah, well, I like that. And Vicky's a Chargers fan, is that right?
Yeah, of course.
It's too bad, Vicki, because Phillip Rivers was going to be on the show this week, but we just thought since you were going to be here that I'd rather have you than Phillip Rivers. Okay, so very good. All right, let's take a look at what, and Chris, the headline of this segment, what truly is going on with the Boise real estate market. I think that's such a prophetic point with you because people hear and they think and this, that, and the other. You've been pretty steady Eddie on this show about what we can expect, and so far you're right on the money.
Yeah, and what I wanted to talk about here a little bit is what we're starting to see is that I think sellers are starting to sense that inventory levels, the sellers in general, people are the consumer and the sellers and the buyers. There's so much information now out there that you can get so much information on any real estate market, whether you're moving to Phoenix or whatever, Boise, and you discuss that. But I think the sellers are really, I know they are because I talked to them, but they're starting to really feel that inventory levels are low, which is really kind of putting an upward pressure on price. And so what I mean by that is when the inventory levels are not rising at a typical level, when you're coming into summer, typically you'll see an upswing of inventory as typically when people sell their houses. And we're not seeing that. So what we're seeing now is we're seeing a push on the inventory levels down, and which is making the, we're talking about appreciation or market correction, but it's putting upward pressure on it. So what ends up happening is if there's no inventory level at the 100,000 range or 200,000 range or 300 or very little inventory level, it really starts to put a push on the upward price of those levels, which, it just kind of puts an upward pressure on everything. So if the 100,000 level mark has no inventory, it puts pressure on the 200,000 and so on.
So I'm guessing that we're just based on what you told me that 100, 150 on the edge of 200, people are kind of in line on those, that's good news for those that are 200-300 on up, right?
Well, yeah, no, there's no question about it. Since we started doing this show 4 or 5 months ago, you can even see a direct, reflection on when we discussed those things and we discussed the upwards pressure. Now we were seeing it 4 months ago in the 100,000 range, and now we're starting to see it in the 200,000 range, and I can start feeling it happen in the 300,000 range. So now you're starting to go from, older Boise, where you have some of these smaller houses that are, $100,000, $150,000 houses. Now you see Meridian 250, 300, the Eagle 350, 400, and on up.
So, Chris, when you analyze the data and you look at a list like what you've provided me with today, where you say, okay, the median price in the country right now is about $195.
Right.
Do you look at cities as you've listed here? You've got Phoenix, Santa Barbara, Miami, Reno, and I'm picking areas in the region. Then you've
Sure.
also got Boise in there. How do you analyze this data? What's it mean?
Well, you got to look at, when you look at in general, Boise's on this list here, and you talk about the list price is up 20% from last year, and you start watching those numbers, but you look at some of these other areas, 30, 32%, and it kind of fluctuates in there. But, I always say don't look at national numbers. When I kind of have been taking that back over the last couple of weeks since we had Tim Bungard, the CEO of Pioneer Title, on, and we chatted about don't look at national, or when I was talking to Mark Johnson on his show on a Viewpoint about don't look at national numbers, but overall it still does affect us, because when national numbers on other areas of people that are going to move here, when they're seeing appreciation, now they can sell their house and they're not underwater anymore, and they're coming to us.
Now, I told Mark Johnson that he's not allowed to steal you from this show anymore. So I think he just likes to play golf with you. But I think that's what people are seeing, is they want to talk to somebody that knows what's going on, not just some national premise of housing markets in dire straits. It's, well, it looks pretty good around the Treasure Valley. I mean, I've shared with you where I live in Paramount. I mean, they just finished another street there, and already the houses are lined up on the street.
Right. And, here, this is what you and I discussed at the break as well. We talk about, is it true appreciation or is it market correction? In my professional opinion, it's market correction, because what was happening 2 years ago, we had all these short sales and bank foreclosures, and what they were doing is they were just dumping these properties, and it was just killing the environment. And now that those have dried up, and we're not seeing so many, REO properties, bank owned or short sales taking place, we're starting to see that what's happened over the last year or so has been a market correction, because of the fact of the matter that it was so low. Well, now those properties are gone, are dissipated. Now they're gone, and what we're seeing now was a market correction. But now I think we're going to start seeing some true real appreciation as opposed to a market correction.
You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group at Keller Williams Realty in Boise. Hoping you're enjoying not only your day but the program on Saturday. ChrisLofthus.com. You can also reach out to Chris at contact us at clgeagle.com. And Chris, share with our listeners, we've talked about it the last couple of weeks, but it's becoming more and more popular, the secret list. What is it, and how do I get on it?
Yeah, and we talk about this a lot because we created this about 3 weeks ago, and we're still tweaking with it, but we were finding more and more property owners, sellers that didn't necessarily want to have their house on the market. And so, we tried to give them an avenue of still being able to sell their house without actually having to put it on the market. So we call it the Chris Lofthus Group Secret List. And what it is just properties that might be coming on the market, down the road. But for the most part, they're just properties that people do want to sell them, but they just don't want to go through the hassle of listing their house.
And if you want to call on that, Annette will take care of you. 350-6228, 350-6228. And Vicki's still over there. So, Vicki, I want you to go ahead and give your website real quick. And if you missed it earlier, she's got these great... What I'll probably get in trouble. I'll date myself. High chair seat covers that are reversible. You have a better way to describe them, right?
Yeah, well, basically you're right. Yeah, they're basically slip covers for high chairs that help make it easier to clean up and make it look a little nicer in your kitchen rather than some ugly old high chairs. So,
and you're working on the Chicago Cubs model, and I just brought it up today, a Bronco version and a Vandal version. And folks, if you would just purchase those, I'm working on a deal right now between Chris and Vicki for dinner for the next couple of weeks.
And we can do special orders like that too. We can find the fabrics and make them custom. So, but the website is www.sweetseatsbaby.com, and you can email me at Vicki with an I at sweetseatsbaby.com.
Very good. And Vicki, you also said your contact information if somebody wants to call you, not only for that, but from the information they've gleaned today on the show, whether it's a health club, a school, whatever it might be, they can pick that as well.
Absolutely.
Well, Chris, again, a great show, and I think this just kind of gives us a perspective of what you're trying to do on the pro. Yeah, you're in the real estate business. You want people to buy and sell homes, but you also want them to have an experience.
Yeah, there's no question about it, and I kind of think this show was, I'm glad we did it, and I think it turned out great, and I hope people got something out of it. And if they do want to reach out to us, and if they have questions, like we said, always, of course, I'm in real estate. So if you have questions about real estate, but if you have questions about the area in general, and you want a female perspective of it, reach out to us as well. You can also call me on my personal cell phone, 514-5003.
All right, Chris Lofthus with a C, and it's Lofthus, LOFTHUS.com, or contact us at clgeagle.com, 350-6228. And Catcher, do you want to tell everybody goodbye?
Goodbye.
All right. You have a great week, okay, buddy?
Okay.
All right. Kim Commando is next. So long, everybody. Have a great weekend.